off when I speak.
Yeah. She still requires in the office, correct?
No, we have to be. CDC guidelines have changed, so unless anybody's uncomfortable. Is that now? Austin?
Oh, I was talking about she still has the signs up.
Oh, yeah, because in the common area, you still need to do that, like in the airport.
Okay, she's here.
Okay, good morning. Welcome, everybody. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now let's have a moment of silence, in this case for the people of the Ukraine. Thank you. Okay, under these new hybrid rules of half here, half remote, I have to take roll calls, so bear with me. Jennifer Lippincott.
Here.
Senator James Brewster.
Here.
Ann Ogorick.
Here.
Representative Davis.
Here.
Jerry DeLon.
Here.
Representative Ms. Gorski.
Present.
John Tagg.
Here.
Stephanie Tarman.
Here.
Jessica Walls Laval.
Here.
Michelle Zmianik.
Present.
And your granddaughter, is she joining us?
No, she's having breakfast.
Told you.
Okay. All right, the next order of business is approval of the minutes, both of the January 28th, 2022 annual meeting and the January 28th, 2022 regular meeting. I have a motion for approval.
So moved.
Is there a
So moved.
second? I'll take that as a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, that carries. Thank you. All right, we'll move over to the report of the Chief Executive Officer. Catherine, you're on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everybody. It's nice to see so many people actually here today. May I please have a moment of silence for the following retired and active employees. Operators Thomas Chandru Smith and Tara Michael, bus assignment shifters Keith Nunley and Mary Ellen Allen, automotive mechanic John Remark, William Quince, assistant manager of road operations, George Guthrie, facility system supervisor, and off-board fare collector Robert Hines. Thank you. Wow, so the last time I stood at this podium was January 28th, and we were still gathering information about what was happening in Squirrel Hill with the collapse of the Fern Hollow Bridge. We would eventually learn that day that a 60-foot articulated bus containing our operator and 2 passengers and a few other vehicles were on the bridge when it collapsed. Now, there were 10 people injured, but remarkably and unbelievably no deaths. The collapse of the bridge serves as a wake-up call throughout our region about the importance of funding and regular maintenance on our infrastructure and keeping it in a state of good repair, because we all rely on it, and the safety implications are honestly staggering if we have a failure. What I didn't know when I took the podium 4 weeks ago was the extent to which several of our Port Authority police officers were involved critically in the beginning moments in ensuring there was no loss of life by putting the safety of others ahead of their own. Now, often we look at our police forces in our neighborhoods and our cities, and we take for granted that they're there to keep us safe. But I don't think we often reflect on how scary that can be, that when the rest of us are running away from a collapsing bridge and a natural gas cloud, these people are running toward it, and they're doing it to help us. People they don't know, they're not related to. It's a selfless act that if my children could emulate that when they get older, I would be incredibly proud of them. So Port Authority Police Lieutenant Rob DePippa, Sergeant Sean Morrow, and officers Nicholas Mossy, David Harris, Trastian Collins, and David Walters were among the first to respond at just after 6:30 in the morning, still before sunrise. And now Officer Collins is not here today, but we are joined by many other colleagues. Officers Massey, Collins, Harris, and Walters assisted fire department personnel by climbing down the hillside to help get victims out of wreckage. It was a 100-foot tall bridge. It wasn't there anymore, and our officers went down there not knowing what was going on to help save people. Sergeant Morrow evacuated nearby houses due to the massive gas leak that resulted from the collapse, and then worked to divert traffic away from the area. After all the individuals were rescued, and only then, our officers themselves were treated at the scene for natural gas exposure. After they were cleared, they went back to work helping keep the scene secure. And last but not least, Port Authority Police Telecommunications Specialist Greg Sherman coordinated the initial response. During this intense and highly stressful call, he maintained his composure and professionalism, getting police, fire, and EMS to the scene to render aid, all while documenting the events in real time. These officers and employees should be commended for their heroism and bravery. Please join me in thanking them. Stand up. Come on up, guys. I'm sure it's awkward for you guys because you're always behind the scenes, but you're the real stars. So I'm going to step away. You're going to be on TV. One more round of applause. And stick around. I'm sure we'll have questions. Thank you. Thank you. So nothing as exciting as that going forward, but two items I'd like to mention. On Thursday, March 3rd at 10 in the morning, we'll be hosting a groundbreaking event at Negley Station, which will be the first station in our station improvement program to undergo construction. I'm very excited for this. Improvements include a new ramp and stairs to go to and from South Negley Avenue so that folks don't have to do this path. Increased LED lighting and new safety elements. 2 weeks later, on March 17th at 2 p.m., we'll be hosting a ribbon cutting ceremony for the new transportation center in McKeesport, a huge upgrade from the old 20-foot tall platform that didn't protect folks. We're looking forward to the newly improved center being a catalyst for development in the community. And Mr. Chair, unless there are further questions, that concludes my report.
Are there any questions? Okay, thanks. I'm surprised that the awarding of bids is not as exciting for the press, so got to say goodbye to them. They don't know what they're missing when they hear Michelle's report. Okay, with that then, we'll move on to the report of the Performance and Oversight Committee from our chair, Michelle Zamianik. Michelle, without the press, you are on.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, fellow board members. Good morning, everyone. The Performance Oversight Committee met last week, and I have one resolution for your consideration this morning. After approving the minutes from the January 2022 Performance Oversight Committee meeting, the committee reviewed 3 procurement items and determined the bids to be in accordance with the authority's procurement policies and procedures, the price is fair and reasonable, and the bidders to be responsible and the bids responsive. The Performance Oversight Committee recommends the award of bids listed in the resolution for the total amount of $24,188,848. My fellow board members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, any opposed? Okay, that motion carries.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no further business, and that concludes my report. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Then we'll move on to the report of the Planning and Stakeholder Relations Committee from our chair, John Tagg.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, fellow board members, and fellow stakeholders. The Planning and Stakeholders Relations Committee met last week. I have several items for the board. First is the South Hills Junction Station. Laura Egler, transit-oriented community project manager, presented a conceptual plan for the South Hills Village and the South Hills Junction Station. The planning process began in May of 2021. There were public meetings held in May, August, and November 2021. The final plan was just released this month. The master plan includes improved station access, enhanced pedestrian safety, and ADA accessibility, streetscape improvements, including wider sidewalks and street trees. The most exciting element a new pedestrian bridge spanning the junction that will connect the top of Lila Street steps in Mount Washington to the Warrington Avenue on the Bells Hoover side. A rebuilt station that combines bus and rail on one platform. New seating, windscreens, lighting, and canopy. The entire platform will be under the canopy, and there'll be off-board fare collection. The total construction costs are estimated to be 53 to 69 million. Right now, this is just a conceptual plan. The next steps include developing a master facilities plan and identifying funding sources. Construction is likely to take 5 to 8 years away. The FY 2020 pandemic service changes. Chief Development Officer David Huffaker provided the results of the public review process for the November 2020 service plans in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The board authorized a public comment period on December 1st, 2021, and ending on February 1st, 2022. In addition, staff hosted online information sessions and a formal public hearing in January. There were 6 registered speakers and their comments centered around recognizing the need to serve those communities most hurt by the pandemic. They would also like to understand the metrics used for decision-making around restoring service. A complete report of public comments will be made available to the public on the Port Authority website. Number 3, the Port Authority Bridge Program. Mr. Huffaker also provided an update of the Port Authority's bridge inventory and bridge maintenance program. Port Authority has 79 bridges that it maintains. The average condition score of those bridges is 6.1, which is designated as satisfactory. There are 9 bridges with scores of 4, which is poor. Mr. Huffaker stated that all 9 bridges that have poor ratings are either ready in the capital program for rehabilitation or are in the FY23 capital budget request. The Sawmill Run Bridge, which connects the Red Line and South Busway to downtown, was taken out of service on February 4th after staff identified an unexpected large gap in the expansion joint on the bridge. Engineering has determined that the water infiltrated the support structure. The bridge will be out of service for approximately 10 to 12 weeks while repairs are made. There will be a Red Line shuttle connecting Beachview to the remainder of the T system while repairs are being made. Staff will continue to monitor complaints to ensure that we provide a shuttle service that works for the community. Committee for Accessible Transportation met on February 3rd between 5:30 and 7:30. Mary Fletcher, chair of the CAT, provided opening remark. Bert Jennings, Chief Safety Officer, provided an update on Port Authority response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Amy Silverman, Director of Service and Planning, presented the annual service report. Kurt Conrad provided the government affairs report to the committee. Karen Hesch of Access provided an update on ridership, Access's effort to recruit new drivers, provide service area transition, Access a snow policy. The next meeting is scheduled for May 5th and will be conducted using Microsoft Teams unless otherwise noted. The Allegheny County Transit Council met on February 23rd. Ellie Newman, Section Manager of Service Development, provided a summary of the recent public hearings and public comment period. Kurt Conrad provided a government liaison report, and Ralph Williams, President of ACTC, provided his report. The next meeting is scheduled for March 23rd, will be conducted using Microsoft Teams unless otherwise noted. Unless there are additional questions, Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Are there any questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Mr. Tague. With that, we'll move on to the report of the Finance Committee from our Chair, Anna Rourke.
Good morning, Chair and fellow board members. The Finance Committee met last week, and I have 2 resolutions for your consideration this morning. The first resolution seeks authorization to extend an agreement to provide fair model development and related Title VI fair equity analysis services. In January 2019, the board authorized an award of an agreement to 4Nines Technologies to provide such services for an initial 3-year term with 2 option years for a not to exceed amount of $210,000. The Finance Committee was advised that all work will be on a work order basis and only conducted as needed. The Finance Committee recommends approving this resolution authorizing the exercise of the first option year, extending the agreement to February 28th, 2023, and the increase of the not to exceed amount to $410,000. My fellow members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The second resolution seeks authorization to enter into an agreement to provide pension plan actuarial services. After 6 proposals were received and reviewed, Cowden Associates, Inc. was determined to be the highest rated proposal for the performance of the services. The Finance Committee recommends entering into an agreement with Cowden Associates, Inc. in the total not to exceed amount of $1,082,350 for a term of 4 years with 2 additional option years at the sole discretion of the authority. My fellow members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
And the second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Also at the meeting, the January financial report results were reported to the committee. It was reported that total operating income for the month of January was under budget by $3.9 million and $26.5 million under budget for the fiscal year due to lower passenger revenue and access shared ride revenue. Federal ARPA funding will be utilized to make up for this revenue shortfall. Total expenses in January were $1.9 million below budget and $29.6 million below budget for the fiscal year. Total subsidy for the month of January was $6.2 million below plan due to lower state operating assistance and preventative maintenance invoicing. Finally, it was reported that the authority ended the month of January with approximately $158.8 million in cash reserves. Mr. Chairman, unless there are any questions, that concludes my report.
Are there any questions? Okay, thank you. All right, well, we'll move on to new business, and I'm pleased to present this new business. We have certainly had some interesting times of the past year, and our CEO has led us incredibly through recovery and in dealing with a number of issues that we've been confronted with. I know that we've all felt that she's met all the performance indicators that we value as a board and for the community and for public transit. And we're really thrilled that she's with us. We want to keep her. And so with that, I'm presenting the following resolution. Whereas the board of the Port Authority of Allegheny County previously appointed Catherine Kellerman as the Chief Executive Officer of the authority pursuant to terms and conditions of our employment agreement dated November 8th, 2017 and effective on January 16th, 2018. Whereas pursuant to the agreement, this provides that the term of the agreement will annually be eligible, Catherine will be eligible to annually receive a performance bonus up to 10% of her base salary, subject to meeting the various targets to which are referred, and her base salary being $230,000, that based upon the performance in 2021, the board has determined that to provide Catherine with a performance bonus in the full amount for which she is eligible. So now therefore be it resolved that the CEO receive and be paid by the authority a performance bonus in the amount of 10% of her base salary. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? That carries. Catherine, congratulations. I hope this reflects our confidence in your leadership here. Okay, with that, we'll move on to public comment. We have one speaker, Ralph Williams from the ACTC. Mr. Williams?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. And I want to say congratulations to Catherine on her new contract and also for her good work. Also want to congratulate Sergeant Sean Morrow for his heroism in the bridge collapse. I also want to congratulate and I want to thank the staff for your due diligence on these bridges that you have. And the reason I say that is because we know what happened with the other bridge that collapsed over in Regent Square, and we don't want this to ever happen again through Port Authority. I congratulate the staff and your due diligence, and I also congratulate the board and your due diligence to get these bridges up to speed, and when they're not safe, for closing them down as well. And once again, I'm going to say we need to really get together, everybody, and work on funding. The funding thing is up real soon, and we need to start really doing that. Other than that, have a good morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Okay, our next regular meeting is scheduled for March 25th. And with that, we stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, board members.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Glad you came.